This time on ChinnyVision, back to 84 for some future sports. Ballblazer, released by Lucasfilm Games initially on the Atari 8-bit and Commodore 64. The game sees you on checkerboard landscape, not Space Harrier, and you have to fight against one other player to score, think of them as goals. Naturally, we're going to start off in the Atari 8-bit version, released only on cartridge, although the cracked version I have here will run from floppy disk, or in my case, SD card or compact flash. I apologise. So here you go on the menu screen. This music is algorithmically generated, and I got that right first time. It's not as good as any of the other versions than this on this Atari 8-bit version. Well, I say that the Atari 7800 version is also very, very good. So you select what you want, human versus human or human versus droid. There are 9 droids. We've gone for droid 2, and we selected 3 minutes. So there we go. I'm on the top there, and I run forward. My rotor forward, float forward, and you can see me on the bottom view there. We could just then, and I'm trying to go into the goal there, and I've scored. I've got 2 points there. The goal gets smaller the more points you've scored, and you get between 1 and 3 points when you score, depending on how far away you are from the... We're going to call it a goal. I'm not sure it actually is. See, it's smaller this time. I've tried to fire it off there to get 2 points at least. To get 3 points, it needs to be pretty much on the horizon. When you don't have the sphere / ball, your rotor foil will turn to face it. Now the computer's got it down there, and he will automatically start going towards his goal. When you've got the ball / sphere, your rotor foil will turn towards the goal. So all you got to do is basically keep on going forward or left and right. You don't really need to do much other than that, and you always head towards the ball. And there you go, I've just scored again. 1 point, just literally walked it in there. And I have forwarded this on a few times. So we've got 36 seconds or 35 seconds to go. And the computer's got the sphere, and I'm trying to get off him by pressing fire when I get to the ball. And I'm trying to block him now, which you can do. You can sit there for ages trying to block the computer, but trouble is you don't get anywhere. But the goals do move, as you can see there. So, yeah, he scored there. Another 21 seconds to go, but I'm going to win this. Winner is the high score after the pre-allotted time that you select. Or if you score 10 goals, then, yeah, it's game over. And your opponent, as we will see very shortly in 10 seconds, will start spinning around to show that he's lost. Can I get this last? Yeah, I've got one more. But 6 seconds to go. Not going to have much chance of getting into stuff now. And there's a countdown. There you go. Off he goes. I win. And you see the opponent spin around. And you can see how lovely this scaling is on here. And we're just going to try another droid here. And we're going to go for droid 6. Which should be quite hard. I tend to find anything above droid 5 tends to beat you easily. One of the problems with the computer AI in the game is that it can seemingly almost like fire the ball over the horizon towards the goal, so it just gets the ball and it charges off and it shoots it as soon as the computer thinks it can see it, but it just makes it quite hard. So the computer's got the ball now. He's on the bottom there. It's enormous fun, this game, with 2 players as well. Although, again, one thing used to happen between me and my mate would jam each other into corners and sit there for 3 minutes. Especially if you had the lead, you could do that. Just kind of jam them into a corner so they can't get away. 2 goals down already. And he's going to go off towards the goal there. He scored 2 more. So, with 2 minutes to go, the computer is 9 goals up and I've got none. But I'm running towards the floating, towards the goal again. Oh, I missed that, but I got it that time. I got 2 for that, even though I was quite close. I would have thought that had been 1. And you can gain goals back, by the way, as well. So if I score another couple, he will lose some. So his pink spheres in the middle will turn to purple. but he's off with the ball again. I'm stuck behind him. He's going to score. His aim is always perfect, even on level 6. And I've gone for a spin there. He has won. There, just about getting 10. So quite nice on the Atari 8-bit version. I used to play it on my mate's Atari XL. And I acquired a copy of this game on South Sea Pier for £1 for the Amstrad CPC. So we're going to look at that next, because it's the version I had after playing this so much on my mate's Atari. And the music is pretty dreadful. We're going to start off with Droid 3. Nice and colourful though, nice horizon effects there. And it's quite fast. Indeed, I got some notes here somewhere that say the Atari version runs at 17 frames a second. The computer's scored already. And yeah, so the Atari XE version runs at 17 frames a second. The Amstrad version is managing 10 frames a second. What you notice when you analyse this in the editing software is actually the CPC's cheating slightly here, because although it's getting a fairly decent frame rate, it's not updating the whole frame at once. The Atari version updates the top and bottom separately, but the CPC version seems to be splitting the frames as well. So if you pause it in the middle, I'll show you this. There you go. Hopefully I've put something in there that shows you. You can see that the frame that's completely split there. And that seems to happen on the monitors or what have you as well. We'll try Droid 5 on the Amstrad CPC just to see how the AI works on a slightly lower version or a lower AI than it does on the Atari. And you can really get, when the enemy rotofoil is up close or you see yourself in the display, you can see that it's not so much flickering, it's just splitting the frame. And that's not video capture. It does actually happen on a CRT as well, although it's not as pronounced. But there appears to be something on the CPC version that perhaps is also linked into how this checkerboard landscape is drawn with lines that keeps the speed up whilst not having to worry too much about the large objects. So the CPC's 5 goals up there and 3 seconds to go, and yeah, I've lost. With practice, droids 5 and 6 can be defeated, but above that, you've got no chance. Over to the Specky version, and this moves slightly faster than the CPC version. Not a lot, there's only a couple of extra frames per second. They clearly show it's sharing a lot of code. And again, on the Specky, the music isn't great. Does have 128k sound though. Got to be a fairly early game for that, and depending on when it was published. For 128k support, I would have thought it'd be 48k only. The one big difference from the CPC version here is there is quite a lot of attribute clash around the rotofoils when they get up close. You don't tend to notice it because of the speed, but there can be a few problems there. I'll try and show that now, because you can zoom around when you've finished a game, and you can see there, look, it does this kind of weird thing around, and when that's moving at speed, you can see it a little bit more. It kind of appears and disappears. Over to one of the other original versions, the Commodore 64. Ordinarily, I would have put this up front with the Atari version, but I wanted to show the CPC and Spectrum versions. Incidentally, I cannot get the MSX version to run for love nor money, which is a shame, because it's actually not an Activision port. It's done by Pony Canyon, by the looks of it, if my file names are right. C64 version runs near identical frame rate to the Atari. There might be possibly 1 frame a second less, but you know, unless you scientifically analyse these things and have them set up for exactly the same scenarios and so on, it's hard to tell. So it's either about a frame a second less, or it's exactly the same as the Atari version. Tell you what though about the C64 version, I don't think the music's very good. The music sounds slightly off. Although this is a C64C on a bread bin, this might, and I repeat, might sound correct. Playability-wise on the 64, it's exactly the same deal. It's such a fun game. When you play this with friends as well as a two-player game, you can really get value out of this. The AI is limited. You get to level 4 or 5, you might have a good game, but the problem is the AI is not as much cheating as just a bit too good. It can just shoot from too far away. It always knows what it's going to do. There's no margin of error that you would have playing against a human. And by the way, if you want extra content, check out ChinnyVision 2. It's linked in the description below. And also remember, if you support ChinnyVision on Patreon, you get exclusive videos, previews, and lots more. Again, link in the description. Just $1 a month gets you in. Very grateful to the people who support the channel on that. Ballblazer was one of the games my mate had on his Atari 800 XL that I really loved and wanted to play, even when he got his ST. It's like, put the ST away, let's play Ballblazer. But the fact is, it was better than all the new games. It's such enormous fun as a proper two-player game, and that's where this game really stands out, as a proper two-player game. By far, the C64 and the Atari versions are the best. They are the original Lucasfilm Games versions. The Atari certainly has better sound, unless you know different on your bread bin, and that's the version I always choose. I do have this on the Atari 7800. I can capture from that UHF, but I'm not going to. That version is absolutely cracking as well. Got no idea about the MSX. The CPC version is a very solid port. Yeah, it's a little bit slower. Yes, the sound is completely out, but I got a lot of fun out of this, and we still played this in two-player mode when my friend came over to my house. He'd say, yeah, the Atari version's better. I'd say it was one of those occasions where you just went, well, yeah, I didn't have a problem with that, and that's unusual for thinking back to the day with the 8-bit wars. I was quite prepared to accept the Atari 8-bit version was better. The Spectrum version, I'm afraid, plays okay, it just looks wrong. Ballblazer needs that colour. It's about filling all the senses with sound, with graphics, with speed, and the Spectrum version it's okay for speed, but the graphics really let it down, and it's unavoidable on the Specky. That's the thing. Ballblazer is an all-time classic, and one I can thoroughly recommend you play as a real two-player game against another human. I don't think there's a better two-player game on the 8-bit systems, perhaps, unless you know different, and put it in the comments below if you do.